So today I'm going to try to mimic a film-like editing or filter because that's kind of popular nowadays. So let's attempt this and see what we can get. So this is a photo that I captured of Rachel, who is a beautiful model down here in Southern California. We captured this in bright sunlight, and as you can see, everything is a bit harsh. And the thing with digital photos is that with these harsh lighting, it's very easy to get harsh shadows and harsh contrast. So we're gonna try to resolve that issue and try to turn this into as film-like as possible. So the very first thing I do when it comes to adjusting the light is go to curves, and I usually bring up the end of the curve so that the difference between the highlight and the shadow is not too severe. And then I bring down the shadow bit a little bit just to bring back some of the shadows so it doesn't look too washed out. And for midtone, I usually give it a little bit of brightness because in the process of bringing down the shadows, you're going to bring down the midtone as well. For the highlight, it's really down to personal preference. So sometimes with these kind of photos, I try to bring it down a little bit so that it just doesn't feel too washed out, the entire image. So now we've done some very basic editing. Let's see the difference that we got. So this is the before, and this is the after. So it's not looking too different at the moment, but let's add something else. So what I typically do is, especially when trying to mimic a film style, I try to bring up the vibrance a little bit, and then I try to bring down the saturation. Now, if you don't really know the difference between the two, the saturation is how each and every one of these colors, the individual colors, how sharp they are or how stand out they are. Whereas the vibrance is how much of a difference it is between the different colors or the color spaces. So once I've done that, and you can see we're still retaining some color to the image because that's essential. We're not trying to make this image black and white, but at the same time, it gives you more of a blend image to work with. And we're going to see the difference in a minute. Now let's go to the color grading. So what I typically do here is for midtone, I usually give it like a reddish feeling because that's how human skin tend to look at. And after that, I'll give it a little bit of a cool shadow because that's typically what a film will look like. And now, as you can see, we've already seen some difference here. And with the shadow turning a little bit green, a little bit blue, that gives you the aged film kind of vibe. And now what I need to do is basically just to fill in the highlight. Now, you don't have to follow the exact sequence that I'm doing right now because everybody has their own preference, but I'm just showing you the way that I feel the easiest to change or to color grade a photo so that it looks more like a film. Now, for the highlight, sometimes I give it a little bit of a blue look just to counter the midtone, which we select to be red. And now, as you can see, it's looking like a film now. And if I just give it a bit more color to the midtone, and looks like we're there. Now, the last step, which is the icing on the cake, is I usually give it more sharpening. And I usually give it a little bit of noise in the end. Now, the amount of noise that you give to the photo is down to personal preference, obviously, because different people have different kind of preference when it comes to how grainy they want their photos to look like. And for this one, if I just go all the way to the end, as you can see, it begins to look like kind of like a paper textile sort of feel, which isn't too bad. If you zoom out and just look at the entire photo, it looks like it's printing on something else. But I like to look into the details, and looks a little bit messy to me. So I'm going to bring it way down to probably like around 20. And at this point, if you zoom out, it still retains that grainy feeling, but at the same time, it does give you enough detail so it still looks like a proper photo or a proper capture on the film. Now, this is the final product of a film editing. I know this is super simplified way of editing a photo to mimic a film style. And let's take a look at the before and the after. And I hope you find this useful, and please subscribe, and I will share more tips like this in the future. Thank you for watching.